Welcome back. The time is 8:36. You're still tuned in to Salam Media. We're coming to you live from the Results Operations Center. This has been our base for the last week. We'll be here right until Sunday when the results of the national elections will be presented by the IEC. And first and foremost, our first interview, as I mentioned before we went to the break, we'll be speaking to Baha. He's coming to us from Bethlehem. Baha Hilo is a Bethlehem-based activist and educator. Just to chat to us briefly about Jabalia and the state of Jabalia and what Jabalia looked like before this siege by Israeli occupying forces. Assalamu alaikum, Baha. Again, pleasure to talk to you, even though it's during very, very difficult times. Appreciate you joining us today.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
First and foremost, we are out here in South Africa. The focus is firmly on our elections, and unfortunately, that could leave us to some extent, losing a bit of focus on what's currently happening in Palestine that we've been focused on for such a long time, and that a lot of South Africans, even our government, has invested so much time and energy in. But we've gotten sidetracked a bit. If you can just remind us and our listeners about what's currently happening in and what
Uh,
has been happening for the past 20 days of that invasion by the Israeli occupying forces.
First of all, thank you. And like the genocide has been going on for 283 days. Like I don't expect people around the world to be able to pay attention to an ongoing massacre and ongoing genocide for 283 days. And you guys have elections, so you have to deal with your day-to-day life. You mentioned Jabalia. Jabalia was left into rubble. It's a community, city, and a large refugees camp that account to nearly 120,000 people and residents. And Israel have been bombing the place as well as the rest of Gaza, just turning people's homes into rubble, murdering as many people as they can get away with. Uh, like for nearly 20 days only within that neighborhood or that community, the state of Israel made sure that no hospitals are left, no homes are left standing. Many of the civilians who live there have already escaped in for their lives, whether to the south in Rafah or to towards the sea, as far away as what they think would be a safe space. So it's another televised massacre uh, that left few hundred, like almost like 100 people a day are murdered by the state of Israel. The focus was mostly on Jabalia, but at the same time, like the Israelis used an international community like was 100% focused on giving warnings to Israel not to invade Rafah. So, like, if you are not invading Rafah, it's okay to go on with murdering people in Jabalia or in other parts of Gaza. Like, not one spot in the Gaza Strip is safe. And right now, like the Israelis managed to murder people. Like only like 4 hours ago, there were like another 19 people that were murdered by Israeli criminals in Rafah. Bombardment never stopped in Rafah. In a way, now we can easily say that the entire Palestinian population in the Gaza Strip is subject to Israeli brutality completely without any way out. The state of Israel occupied the Rafah crossing, uh, where there were like very limited access to humanitarian aid, and very limited passage and access to the people. Right now, everyone is blocked. There's no access to humanitarian aid. The largest UN agency in or humanitarian agency in Gaza is
Mm,
dysfunctioning.
mm,
You are talking about the 283rd day of genocide that have been televised before your eyes, and it seems like every time international community puts some pressure on Israel not to do things, the Israeli criminals take it as a daring thing. Don't go into Rafah, so they burned people alive in Rafah.
mm.
Don't kill civilians, so like they practice murdering civilians, and they give a free pass for their snipers to start like, using Palestinian bodies as legitimate targets. So, whatever international community tells Israel not to do, the Israeli criminals take that as a daring challenge.
Mm. Mm. And if we can touch a bit on the international community, as you mentioned, I'm sure at this point, the people of Gaza, the people of Jabalia, and the general Palestinian populace, is feeling like the world has forgotten about them. You mentioned that this is a televised genocide. We seeing and witnessing each and every moment that goes by. The numbers, the faces, the devastation of the infrastructure, and I'm sure that's the general feeling.
Brother, like
Does the
the
people of Gaza feel like the world has neglected them?
the world has neglected Gaza for 76 years. So it's not nothing new. The world is enabling this genocide, and we're talking about governments. But like among us, we can tell the difference between the government's conduct, like all the governments that are in alliance with Israeli criminal regime for the past 76 years. They are not the same as the people. So the like the protests that have been happening all along are recognized, and that is what prevent us from giving up completely on every single person on this planet, is because we see well-meaning people who are taken to the streets trying their best to put pressure on their governments to force the state of Israel to stop this genocide and to stop this bloodshed. And we can tell the difference between the behavior of people on the ground and the behavior of governments. Like, I do not expect the president of Mexico to burn down a building, which is the Israeli embassy, in a protest against like burning people alive. Because you had some protesters in Mexico and some protesters in Turkey who set fire to directly in Rafah.
Mm,
But I don't expect the president of Turkey nor the president of Mexico to actually give a value to the crimes that are being committed. Like, those presidents continue to host Israeli representatives and continue to maintain limited relations with the state of Israel. So, like, in the end of the day, we do know that international community in terms of governments is made of corrupt bullies who love to see our blood being wasted. Like, they don't care. Politicians do not care. Politicians never cared.
mm,
So this is not something new. The one thing that is new is what we've been seeing coming out of South Africa. because Israeli genocidal behavior, Israeli savagery, is a strike reminder to those of us in South Africa, or to the people of South Africa, of the savagery and brutality of apartheid in the south of Africa. So finally, you have politicians from South Africa who are, willing to put some effort, take some time, and try to hold Israeli criminals responsible for crimes they've been committing. But even
Mm,
then, like, we do not expect so much. Like, the International Court of Justice have issued a clear demand on the state of Israel to stop its genocide. And then what happened? The Israeli prime minister started like bullying and threatening the court. Like, it has been news have been coming out that Israeli officials have been threatening and exploiting, abusing like personal information to bully the judges of the International Court of Justice for the past 10 years. So we are aware of that. We are aware of that. But the one thing that preventing us from completely giving up is people on the streets around the world.
And just lastly, before I let you go, we received reports that a third of Gaza has been made uninhabitable. This is an analysis by
Really?
Al Jazeera's Sanad verification agency, which
Yeah,
found out that Israel has raised about 32% of the land in the Gaza
yeah,
Strip to create a
yeah,
buffer zone,
yeah,
including along the Netzarim corridor, which cuts
yeah,
the enclave in
yeah.
half. If you can just give us
Yes.
insight a bit on that, and
Um,
what it looks like, really.
Okay, according to the UN, not Al Jazeera, according to the UN, back in 2016, they said that Gaza will be uninhabitable in case of the siege. If Israel maintains that siege for up until the year 2020, Gaza will be uninhabitable by the year 2020. Gaza has been uninhabitable since the year 2020. The conditions of survival were made impossible, yet we had survivors of Israeli siege, of Israeli criminal behavior, of Israeli continued bombardments, and so on. What we see today is like what you mean by a buffer zone, which already was before October 7th. It was 24.5% of the Gaza Strip declared by Israel as a buffer zone. Is right now that number is increasing more. Buffer zones means like we eliminate and level down homes with bulldozers. It doesn't mean like bombing people with and bombing people's homes with airstrikes. I just want to tell you that the rubble created by Israeli bombardment over the past 283 days will need more than 15 years to be removed. You know, so like only to remove all the destruction and rubble that is caused by Israeli bombardment over the past 283 days, it needs 15 years to be removed. So you can imagine nothing more than rubble over rubble over rubble over rubble.
Mm,
I do not think like trying to use terms like military operation, mowing the lawn, controlling the borders, and like those kind of statements give a different image than the image that we see on the ground. Rafah today is completely disconnected from the rest of the world. The Israelis managed to completely destroy internet connection and so on. So like there will be like very few news coming or news coming out in the as long as the Israeli military operation in Rafah goes on. They have been doing the exact same thing they've done in every town and city before, bombing hospitals, putting hospitals under siege, making sure that the infrastructure that people need for basic survival is destroyed. And then it's a matter of like murdering people, blowing up neighborhoods, one neighborhood after the other, and starving people to death. So like what has been happening for the past 283 days is going on, and the state of Israel is not going to willingly stop this genocide.
All right. I think we're going to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for the update. It's really, really educational. And I think it will serve as a reminder to South Africans who are a bit distracted right now because of our national elections to keep in mind and to never forget and to never stop talking about Gaza and Palestine during this difficult time. We're going to let you go. Again, appreciate you joining us and giving us your time.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Salam alaikum.
Welcome, salam. That was Bethlehem-based activist and educator Baha Hilo giving us an update, really, with the focus being on Jabalia, which is right now in ruins. There's no any kind of humanitarian aid coming in. The numbers of those that have been killed is increasing by the minute, if not by the day. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to governance expert Professor Sam Koma, just making sense of the numbers of the latest election results here in South Africa and the permutations of the different stats that we've been seeing. The C word, the big C word, making the rounds. Well, if you don't know what I mean when I'm talking about the C word, well, it's coalitions. And it almost looks like this year's elections will be defined by the C word. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, governance expert Professor Sam Koma joins us.